Alright, this game was a contrast of halves, and it was basically even in the first one, because both teams could not miss. I thought the defense was good, because the defensive game plan discipline and effort was there, but the offense was just better, so the coverages, mismatches, or even minor breakdowns got exploited every time. The pace was there for the most part, so both teams were in a good rhythm, and for the Thunder, a lot of that was stemming from Shai or Dub handling the rock. Yoke was showing off Shai's screens, so he either beat Yoke around the corner or got off it quick for Zay on the short, and Yoke was sagging off Zay, so he was more aggressive than usual. If he wasn't opening up the swing, he was going at Yoke for giving him space, and Dub was doing the same thing because Yoke was dropping against him, so he was getting to his spots. Between those three controlling their offense, and even their shot making as a team, they could have been up more, but the Nugs were just as good, especially whenever theirs got stagnant. Every time they were in a late clock situation, it didn't matter if the shot was open or contested, and I lost track of the amount of bailouts they hit on the night. A lot of them were coming from Maul, because he was looking for his shot out the gates, so he got going early against the Thunder dropping, or some mismatches, and when he's that aggressive, there's no lapse in offense when him and Yoke stagger their minutes. Yoke was just doing the same thing, because the Thunder trust Zay or Jalen Williams to play him straight up, so the most they'll do is shade his angles on ones, and they'd only commit a hard double to prevent the entry pass. That was one of the reasons the others got open looks from deep, and that's just a part of their scheme to sag off the non-shooters, but unfortunately, they paid for it this time, especially in the second half. That was the difference in the game, and their downfall really stemmed from Dub leaving the game with an injury, and Zay having to sit out early in the third with 3 fouls, because it just allowed the Nugs to sell against Shai every time down, so he was being forced off the rock. They did it a few times late in the first and second, but once they realized they can commit with no consequences, he was seeing 2 right before or right after he crossed the 47, and whenever he tried to get the rock back, they just had multiple players playing hard ball denial. But even when he had chances to get his, they were shading his angles, so he couldn't get anywhere without seeing multiple bodies, and that just caused their offense to go ice cold, because the others didn't know what to do, so all they did was miss from deep. Once they lost their rhythm, even the floats in the fourth weren't falling, and the only one making shots was Lou, but that wasn't gonna be close to enough, because they couldn't get stops on the other end. The Nugs capitalized on the Thunder's breaks in the third for runouts, and they were still exploiting their advantages, or more importantly, making their open looks from deep, so once the momentum started shifting throughout, they eventually took the lead by the end of the quarter. They just carried that momentum into the fourth for a damn near perfect second half, because everything was working for him, from Maul's shot making, to Yoke's pin down or inverteds, to Russ playing off him for cuts or dimes, and especially to their lights out shooting. If anything, the Nugs just gave the Thunder a taste of their own medicine, because they've gotten away with sagging off the others in the past, but this time, the Nugs made their open looks, and it was their turn to get away with being disrespectful to anyone not named Shai. Just watch the tape.
Denver is making the shots. Westbrook from the outside.